Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to start in just a second. I know we normally wait a few minutes before we start, but we're actually going to start in about 20 seconds as soon as we get this shared. There it is.
Where are you sharing?
Wherever you're not.
Did you get hip gelatin already?
Hold on.
I'll share it there.
Okay.
I got hip gelatin.
I'll hit Hipper.
I'll hit pay.
I will get Hip Sumner. I think that's pretty much everybody. Ooh.
Hi there. Can I call you back in just a few minutes? I will, thank you.
Hi, Jamie. I'm going to bring you some signs and put them in your yard in a few minutes.
Okay, Mayor, whenever you're ready, we're ready.
Just let's start with me, then go to you, and
that's
then
fine.
we'll end together. Okay. Let me turn my sound off, right? Okay.
Speaking of sound, we have microphones today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for our afternoon update. We are continuing these for now to keep bringing you information that may be useful to you each day as we navigate this very unique situation. I'm Paige Brown. I'm the mayor of the city of Gallatin, and I want to begin by updating you on the situation with the Center for Rehabilitation and Healing here in Gallatin. As you may assume, you know that on Friday there are many patients moved from that facility. I think the initial number was 24. I think 17 more were moved on Saturday. And then yesterday more than 50 were moved. And then today, again, we've been very blessed to have agencies from all over the state assisting in moving more patients. And so the rest of the patients are being moved out of the facility. The numbers that I have at this point are that there were 74 residents who tested positive, 34 staff who tested positive. And as I've said before, I ask that you pray for those people, pray for their families, and I really haven't talked much about the nursing home facility because I've been thinking about the people who worked in the nursing home so much because I've been thinking so much about these patients. But I think it really is important for us to remember that there are dedicated nurses and support staff and cafeteria workers and janitorial services in that center who are providing expert care and really loving patients and doing the best that they can. And so the fact that so many of them have tested positive for this virus, I think they and their families need your thoughts and prayers as well. And we appreciate the work that everyone in any of these skilled nursing facilities provides because it is a difficult thing that you do, and we're so very grateful for that. If you've been watching, and so that's my update on the center, and if you've been watching the television today, we just finished with a conference from Governor Bill Lee. He did issue additional orders today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. They are available online if you would like to read them, but essentially today he did order that non-essential businesses close, and in this order non-essential businesses are defined, essential businesses are referenced or defined. And like I said, you can go online for details, but in essence the non-essential businesses that are named in this order are barbershops, hair salons, waxing salons, threading salons, whatever that is, nail salons or spas providing body treatments, body art facilities and tattoo services, tanning salons, massage therapy establishments, or massage services. And those were all in the service category. Also in the entertainment and recreational gathering venues category are nightclubs, bowling alleys, arcades, concert venues, theaters, auditoriums, performing arts centers, or similar facilities, racetracks, indoor children's play areas, adult entertainment venues, amusement parks or roller or ice skating rinks. And so that is the order that has come from Governor Lee. There's an additional order that he issued today, and this is one that is an order directing Tennesseans to stay at home unless engaging in essential activities to limit their exposure to and the spread of COVID-19. So that order was issued as well. It is 12 pages. There is lots of guidance in that document to help people understand why it's important to stay home and to make sure that they do that. So I've been asked so many times, what is your city doing to stop the spread of COVID-19? And we have actually gotten some determining information from our legal counsel with consultation with various attorneys all over the state and at the state. And we as a city have done what we can to make people do what they're supposed to do. We do have additional governor's orders now, which helps us be able to enforce to some degree, but there still is a very large onus of responsibility on each and every individual. It is going to be up to each of us to stop the spread. So I ask you to, again, help, tell your neighbors, tell your family members, tell strangers if you feel so inclined why they need to be socially distancing and staying out of areas unless they are non-essential. I think I mentioned yesterday, and have not talked to everyone, but I've actually even had a couple of conversations with corporate entities with their big offices, talking about what stores might be doing to limit occupancy so that safe social distancing can occur. I've heard some things today that I have found very interesting that they are actually taking steps to do, and those things I think will help. But I still believe that it's up to us as individuals to not enter a location until we safely can do so, and to self-police. And so I've shared that if I go by somewhere that I need to go in, I'm not going in if the parking lot's crowded. And I would encourage you to do the same. If we all do that, then the stores are not going to be too crowded are not going to be so crowded that they are unsafe. So that's certainly something that we as individuals also can do. You're aware that the city of Gallatin was the first in the area to do a state of emergency. We are still under that state of emergency. It was extended last Tuesday, and we will extend it again this Tuesday. And there are orders in place from us that close our public buildings that are city-owned, and also do not allow your utilities to be cut off during this state of emergency. Not a part of an order because it has a different governing body, but our Gallatin Department of Electricity is also suspending disconnects during this period. I'll remind you, you're still responsible for those payments, and after the state of emergency, you definitely would be subject to cutoffs. But during this time that we are in a state of emergency, there are no disconnects happening. And both utilities, both Gallatin Public Utilities and the Gallatin Department of Electricity, do want you to call, let them know if you have suffered loss of employment and are going to be needing to make special payment arrangements, and they will be more than happy to work with you. We do still have our parks open in Gallatin and our greenways open. We are endeavoring to do that. Our police are enforcing the gathering of groups. If you are in a group, you are going to get a hello from the police department that will give you the option to disperse or go home. And we hope that you will honor the social distancing guidelines that we all know so well, because we do not want to have to close those parks. People need to be able to get out and get some air, and they may not have a private space that would afford them that opportunity. And certainly we all believe exercise is healthy, and that is a great way and a great place to exercise safely. So help us continue to keep those spaces open for our public. I think that is pretty much the end of my update for today. Very sad numbers to report. I hate to even share them, but I think it's good to know the reality. Currently, our numbers are reported by the state of 1,834 cases in the state of Tennessee. There have been media reports since that publishing that there are actually 1,928 cases in our state. There are 148 hospitalizations at this point, and there are 13 deaths. The number that I have last heard for Sumner County for positive cases of COVID-19 is 215, and that's just a heartbreaking number for all of us. Again, let's say a prayer for these people who are suffering with this virus and for their friends and families who are suffering right there with them. This is so serious and so very sad, and I remain, of course, committed to helping our community get through this, because we will, and it's just not going to be as soon as any of us hope it will be. And I thank you all for your support, your encouragement of people in this community, the help that you're giving to your friends and neighbors, the support of that you're giving to local businesses, because you can do that and they're operating in a safe manner, and all that so many creative people are doing in our community to keep us going during this time. It is definitely tough times, but we're tough people, and we're going to make it through this. I think I will turn it over to Kim Baker now. She's the CEO of the Gallatin Chamber, and Kim always has some good things to say about what's happening in our community, and some of the charitable outreach that you've been witness to. So share some of the things that you know. You've been very active this weekend. I must publicly thank Kim. She's helped so much this weekend also, as so many people and agencies and entities came together to help with the nursing home situation, and Kim was right there doing things to help, and I'm so appreciative of you. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Hey, so there are, like you said, there's creative things that are going on. There's charitable things that are going on. There's so many awesome things that are happening in the midst of all this darkness that is existing. Today, we received a call from Sumner Regional that they needed assistance feeding 120 employees at lunch. Put out a request on social media through the Gallatin Mutual Aid page, my personal Facebook page, and within about an hour, we had over $1,500. So we were able to provide lunch, and we purchased it from 3 local businesses who were also hurting during this time. And we got that to Sumner Regional. Then we have some funds left over. We'll be helping with other meals. So that's a great way that individuals in the community can support the community. They can support a business and support those working the front line without even leaving the comfort of their home, which is the right thing to do right now. What else was I going to say? Somebody asked if we would post the essential list, and we will post it, and we'll post a link to that whole document in the comments when we wrap up this video. Something else I wanted to share, talking about creative, I received a message from a friend this morning who is leading or co-leading an effort to create face shields for those in the front line. And right now it's kind of interesting. It's this unique assembly line operation they've got going on that's happening from house to house. So one individual is building a piece of this, and then the parts are going on to somebody else's house, and they're building a piece of it. And so together with some of our industry partners here in Gallatin, and then also in Portland, we've been in touch with some folks today to help them expedite that process and mass produce some of those. So I think that's a tremendous effort. Some of those folks in our community, major businesses that are shifting their operations in a time like this. And of course, our Gallatin Strong Challenge still is going on, and today's is leave a Google review for 3 of your favorite businesses. So our businesses, some of them may be closed right now because they are non-essential. Some of them may still be operating in unique ways, and that's a way that you can support them without even spending money and without leaving your house. We certainly want you to spend money if you can, but if you can't, then just pop over to Google and leave some reviews for your favorite businesses. They really need it right now.
They absolutely do. Jeff, I'm scrolling the comments. Have you seen anything that we should try and answer?
I haven't seen big questions. One thing I did want to mention, we have a COVID page on the city's website.
Right.
I know when we talk about posting things in threads, they tend to get lost. So
Absolutely.
the city's website.
There is a, what Jeff is saying, he's probably picking it up on the feed, but I'll repeat that on the Gallatin website, which is gallatintn.gov. There is a COVID-19 page that has resources and up-to-date information. The state of Tennessee also has a COVID page. That's tn.gov. And then at the federal level, there's also a COVID page, and it is coronavirus.gov, I do believe. It's either coronavirus.gov or coronavirus.com, but it is a good government page, and you can actually see. And there's a link in there to the CDC where you can actually learn even more about signs, symptoms, treatments, statistics. And I've mentioned a couple of times, but still the Johns Hopkins tracker is a good tool as well. I think that was it. Was there any more questions? I did see one just when I glanced down a minute ago, showing concern for the jail. Certainly, that is a population that is in close proximity to each other. I actually will check on this overnight. I heard something several days ago that the population there were no symptoms or any positives there, and I don't know what they were doing with intake of new inmates, but I'll try and get that information so I can share it publicly tomorrow. And I think that's a great question. I appreciate that.
I'm just curious. Someone mentioned crime in Nashville going up as a result of this. Have you heard anything related to that in Gallatin?
We've not experienced crime going up in Gallatin. In fact, people have been very well behaved, and and I'm so appreciative of that. And I'm saying that based on our call volumes. I get a police report twice a day, and I always read those. And it seems like our call volumes have gone. When I say calls, I mean the calls that we respond to, and they typically document the serious ones. And really have not had many things. Most have been pretty petty. I will say domestics have gone up in our community, and you can imagine why that might be. So a little too much closeness at home for some of our residents, but that's why we all need to be kind, especially to our family and loved ones. It's hard for everyone right now.
And one other thing, I know there's been a lot of chatter about Lowe's, specifically about the garden center, and this was mentioned here too. I know it's a tough one.
Don't call out an individual business.
I'm sorry,
but yes, there were. I'll tell you, there were a lot of conversations over the weekend. I'd been calling some businesses locally just sporadically and saying, "What are you doing to limit your occupancy?" And some were doing things. I took some pictures of some signs and that kind of thing, and appreciate the businesses that are taking measures into their own hands. And I noticed that the Save-A-Lot in Gallatin has put up really strong signage on the exterior of their store about don't enter if you're sick, and they have put up shields between the cashier and the customers, which I think are really good visual reminders. And I understand. Anyway, back to your question. I understand that Kroger's has done that as well, and that they are in place today too. They were a corporate office I also had the opportunity to speak with about what they were doing in their stores to make sure that their customers and their associates were safe. But I did also have a conversation. I actually just called the local Lowe's store, and someone from corporate called me back, and they were very appreciative of our concern and our feedback. The lady that I spoke with from Kroger even offered to consider what their advertising looks like right now, and if they might use that as an opportunity for messaging. So one thing I learned that I did not know, because I saw this and I thought, well, that's a really good thing. Somebody pointed out that one of the inserts in the newspaper, the advertising piece that comes out, that it actually advertised a really big sale at one of these facilities this weekend, which they felt like was driving business. Well, someone from a different business explained to me that those are designed weeks in advance and that you actually can't pull them in time. And she said that they were trying to get all digital marketing during this time because the situation was so fluid that they didn't want a printed piece out there that would mislead customers and not inform them well. One of the things that I've suggested to a couple of businesses, and it may be stupid because I've not seen it implemented yet, but I've suggested potentially, because what we don't want is for businesses to limit occupancy and then big lines form outside, right? So I've suggested, think about a red-green system. If it's red, no one can enter. If it's green, people may enter. And you would essentially have a Hollywood bouncer style business going on, but it would limit occupancy and people could stay in their vehicles or away from the building until it was safe to enter, instead of someone having to interact face-to-face with an associate, and that would protect the customers and the people working in the stores. So
I saw one great question.
Okay.
Mentioned the difference between state orders, which we just heard some more about the governor, versus the county orders that we heard earlier.
They're very, very similar. This just happened, and I haven't compared them exactly, but remember that the county orders, which per our renewal of our state of emergency, the city of Gallatin is under, many of those same businesses were mentioned in that article, in that order, or I don't know if they're actually mentioned in that order, but several of those, like salons and stuff, were actually covered by that order. This one may go a little bit further with some of the entertainment businesses and maybe some of those other service businesses that weren't specifically articulated in the county orders. So they're very, very similar. And I will say the governor's orders are in effect for until the 14th of April. The county's orders were just renewed today, and they are on a 7-day rotation of renewals, as is the cities with our orders.
That's all I've got.
Okay, I think that's all the questions. Anything that you want to add today, Kim?
Nope. We're still helping businesses figure out some of that information related to resources available about SBA loans and other type of funding and payroll protection plans. So if you have questions about that, we don't necessarily have all of the answers, but you can certainly lean on the chamber right now. I would encourage you to reach out to your own financial institutions, a bank that you bank with. They are equipped to start answering some of those questions as well. So you can reach the chamber at 452-4000. Or you can visit us online at gallatintn.org. And we also have some COVID resources on there as they pertain to businesses.
Okay. We thank you all as we do each day. Folks, our community is special. It is a difficult time, but we can get through this, and we need to do it together, and we need to do it with grace and love for our neighbors, and I know we can. So I love all of you. I thank you for continuing to be supportive and sweet. And Kim?
Well, I thought we would share, a lot of people, we've been listening and we've been reading, and we are officially more than 6 feet apart today.
Yeah.
So we did our best.
And that's, we are trying to do the right thing, but we're also trying to make sure that we are heard. And so Kim is now toting around an amplifier with her daily. So we've improvised, like so many people. We've improvised through this, and we continue to improve in small increments. And thank you for your patience. Y'all have a good afternoon. Take care. God love you.
Bye.